Stourton Park and Ride in Leeds is the third major park and ride facility introduced in the city in recent years. Behind it is Junction 7 of the M621 motorway, also known as the Stourton Interchange. The location of the park and ride is here, south of Leeds city centre. On this map, Stourton is marked over here. However, the exact location of Stourton is becoming increasingly vague. It's the name of a park and ride, a motorway interchange, and a sprawling industrial area of Leeds south of the River Aire. A collection of industrial units of all shapes and sizes, with no apparent centre and few people living here. Yet within living memory there was once a large, thriving village here, with thousands of residents. So where was it, and why has it gone? Well, it had all started out so well. Stourton was named after Lord Stourton, who it is believed was given the land here sometime after 1603. The substantial house and grounds that were once here were called Stourton Lodge. We are aware that between 1750 and 1804, the local Roman Catholic community at nearby Thwaite Gate were using the lodge as a meeting place, and in 1822 Pontefract Road was extended. Wakefield Road already existed, and so a V-shaped split was formed. Even as late as 1849, Stourton still didn't really exist, but that would soon change. There was a sale by public auction of Lord Stourton's estate. Soon after, the land in and around the V-shaped split started to be developed. So much so that by 1875 there was a temporary school in the hamlet, and a year later a mixed school was built. In 1883 worshippers shipped in and built an iron church. Nearby, in 1889, Yorkshire Copper Works started off. By 1894 the top half of Queen Street, Board Street, Atkinson Street, School Street and Coggle Street were fully developed. Plevna Street, Mayfield Street, Prospect Street and Bateson Street were partially built. There were other houses on Wakefield Road and a Methodist chapel. In 1898 the iron church was replaced by St Andrew's Church, and the first service was on the 23rd of July. Things were looking good for the growing community of Stourton. Unfortunately, the Great Northern Railway had other ideas, and in 1897 they bought land through Stourton for a branch line to cross the river at Thwaite Gate that would effectively cut the village in two. As part of the construction, the line ran on a raised embankment to join an enormous swing bridge. There are stories of the swing bridge being built to allow tall ships to reach Leeds city centre, though in reality the prospect of that happening was scant. Other stories suggest the Air and Calder Navigation Company simply took pleasure in forcing the railway to build the swing bridge. Whatever the reason, the enormous swing bridge was built. This is the tower on which the bridge was built to swing, though it only swung once, and the end dropped 2 feet. It had to be jacked back into place and never swung again. South of the village, the Midland Railway erected engine sheds near Wakefield Road, and there were an impressive bunch of railway sidings there. The railway provided jobs for the village, as did the growing Yorkshire Copper Works. More houses were added in 1903 when the Idas were completed. The facilities in the village now included 17 shops and 2 hotels. By 1921, there were approximately 3,000 people living in Stourton, and it was now a complete community with around 25 shops, a park, clubs, pubs, industry, and a couple of police houses. Even a doctor's for a while. There was an infant school and a junior school. All set for the future, you would think. Sadly, the planners didn't share the same hopes for the village, and in 1969 demolition started. It would continue relentlessly until 1984, when only around 6 houses, the Queen's Hotel, Stourton Liberal Club and the Stourton Hotel would remain, as symbols of the lost community. Even being the place in the UK where the board game Monopoly was produced didn't stop the demolition. The print company Waddingtons had arrived in the area in the 1920s at the factory seen here. In 1935 they were licensed to produce the UK version of the popular board game. They went on to produce many games which have since become household names that are both original and under license, including Cluedo. When St Andrew's Church was being demolished in 1973, the company even arranged for the War Memorial to be moved from the church entrance on Pontefract Road to its present location. In 1994, Waddingtons was bought by Hasbro and the factory closed. Soon after, Yorkshire Imperial Copperworks closed, and the area had lost two of its icons. Arguably, another icon, in the form of First Direct Bank, moved into the Waddington site, though all of the old buildings were flattened and replaced with a new build. There are actually few reminders of the village that remain today. Industrial buildings, most of them nondescript in appearance, have more or less taken over the area. The memorial to the men of Stourton and Thwaitgate still stands, however, listing 75 names from the First World War and 25 from the Second World War who lost their lives. A constant reminder that should always remain. The Queen's Hotel is here still too, although its future is uncertain. It would be good to see the building restored to use, even better as a public house. The majority of the railway embankment that used to run through the village has been removed, but evidence of the lower part of the bridge is still in place on Wakefield Road. Also, on Pontefract Road we can see the bottom walls of the bridge. There are the odd buildings here and there that were here when the village was thriving, but in the main we are left with one or two street names and references to what was once here. Large swathes of communities were flattened in Leeds during the 1960s, 1970s and 1980s, but the demolition of Stourton is a particularly sad and surprising tale. Some decisions that were taken in the past are hard to understand. Next time you see the park and ride buses or head over to South East Leeds, spare a thought for Stourton, the village that vanished. Do check out the other Leeds local history videos on the Geography Juice channel. Subscribe to see more videos like this. Thank you for watching.